Hey there! I am in a great neighborhood in Ann Arbor, downtown Ann Arbor right now, filming this. I work right down the street at Center 21 in downtown Ann Arbor. Yay, Center 21. I'm Taryn Scherer, and I'm here today to talk about the hottest topic that's going on in Ann Arbor, and it's called the Comprehensive Land Use Plan, or CLUP, C-L-U-P. And whether you are a homeowner, a renter, or you just care about what's going on in Ann Arbor, or even considering moving here, I think you really need to know about what's going on. So right now, the city of Ann Arbor is considering, and they've been putting it in place, a long-term plan that could rezone all the single family, and it's called Residential 1 and Residential 2 zoning areas of Ann Arbor into multi-use. So they're looking at 3-story multi-use buildings. And it's supposed to be giving housing to what they're calling the missing middle, meaning like teachers, nurses. It's not necessarily low income, but it's for people that, let's say a teacher that wants to, live closer to the school that she works at in downtown Ann Arbor, or the nurse that works at U of M. At U of M, they have what they call a bar, the barbell effect. So you've got, the doctors and, the people with the big incomes, and then the people that support them, and people that aren't making, $100,000 a year or more. So it's supposed to help that. And so there's a huge controversy about that, because as I walk, these are all single family houses here. Ann Arbor has been here for a long time. And now we're going to be giving this up. We live now in a city where prices have outpaced incomes. Shocking. That's all across the country, creating more housing diversity, especially, again, I said for teachers, etc., and trying to support their goals like climate sustainability and economic equity. And honestly, a lot of the stuff that they want to do theoretically sounds great, but let's put it into practice. So let's talk about some of the opinions of residents. So I pulled up some of the comments that residents have made. One person said, "Hey, we need to make room for everybody. This isn't just for the wealthy." Well, zoning has been long overdue. We need more housing types, not just $1 million single family homes. Well, let me tell you, folks, I get that part. And let's face it, since the pandemic, prices have skyrocketed. They've gone up 50%, almost 60% in many areas. And I can tell you that the other day I went through and I looked at all the houses for sale in the school district of Ann Arbor. And I'll do a separate video on this, but a lot of the homes that are selling are over $1 million. Well, that's because the prices have skyrocketed, and they weren't over $1 million. But now with the high prices, I want to show you. So you're going to see these all over the place. Here we go. Here I am. See Plaza Plan? Ann Arbor Neighborhood Network. They're the one that said we need to pause. There's another one over here in that yard. You see it? All right. So I just wanted to show you what those signs were. So other residents are saying, will these changes raise property taxes? What about the infrastructure? What guarantees do we have that the housing that you claim is going to be for the missing middle will actually be affordable? What kind of controls are you going to have? And then, are we going to lose the character of our neighborhood without any say-so at all? So many have pointed out, and also from the last communication that I read from someone that attended the meeting, nothing is clear. There's no clarity, there's no proof. And so at this point, they tabled it to do some more work before they all come together again. Meanwhile, the people asking these questions, they want more people involved. They're saying that a lot of issues need to be addressed. And when you really think about it, if you're going to add 30 to 97,000 units, yeah, that's the number. That's the number that I saw. I mean, that's widespread from 30 to 97. But when you're talking about taking a single family house and you could potentially knock it down or maybe take two side by side, then you are going to displace trees. You got to have more parking. I mean, just on the street alone, there was like 3 parking spaces when I came. It was only 1 o'clock. Parking has always been a huge concern in Ann Arbor. They have literally had arguments over what can we turn into parking, or you can't build this because they build high. They built really big apartment complexes, and I'll show you that later in the video. And they had to provide parking because parking is premium here. And parking is premium anywhere in a busy city. So the key concerns that everyone's talking about, let me kind of go over some of these. I'm going to walk across the street here. Affordability. Now, rent versus ownership. So are these going to be all rentals? Or is there home ownership involved? Well, I kind of deep dive a little bit, and just keep in mind with anything with an HOA, you've got more concerns about who's going to manage it. They're saying that they're more costly to do something with a condo. Well, when you have an apartment house, it depends on the individual apartment owner. So who knows? Neighborhood impact. I love it. I was just talking about parking, tree cover. Hello, our name is Tree Town, right? How many trees are going to knock down? Traffic flow. Right now, oh my gosh, the traffic in and out of Ann Arbor is crazy. And then school density. So now you're going to put more people, services, everything. And then the big thing is the trust in our officials. Where's the transparency? Where's the community? And everyone really needs to be on board. The majority does. So that is one of them. So I'm going to kind of show you a little bit more of this street. Now we can see it. Look at this cute street. I love it. Check this out. They changed everything. We got bike lanes on each side. Got people bike all year round. So now there's only 2 lanes. I can just imagine 30,000 more units to 90,000 more and all the cars that go with it. So you can see where a lot of people are coming from. There's all these different things to take into consideration because the city of Ann Arbor is basically built. And I want to insert this other little controversy going on. I happened to read about it, and I think it kind of goes hand in hand with what's going on when this whole thing about rezoning residential neighborhoods. Another one's come up. It's called the Parkland controversy. And what that is apparently they're stating that the comprehensive land use plan of the city omits 484 acres of public parkland from the inventory. And this has got a grave concern. Now, some of these include the Leslie Park Golf Course, a Huron Hills Golf Course, and several nature centers and open spaces. You can go online and look them up. And why it matters is because the city charter mandates that there has to be voter approval before any parkland can be sold or repurposed. But by not including them in the inventory, critics argue the city could sidestep this route. In other words, avoid voter approval and redevelop without public consent. Personally, I think that's valid. So that's going on right now. So that's another thing I'll keep an eye on for you. Okay? So if you're moving to Ann Arbor, I think this is something you would be very interested to know, especially if you're buying in downtown, to know what it's eventually going to look like. Um, 3-story unit buildings, multi-units, and not necessarily residential homes anymore. One of the another concern that many people have, and I mean, I've just gone on threads, okay? You know, you can go to Reddit, you can go to a lot of them, but what's to say that a developer won't come in and basically um, make what they want, make more expensive housing. That's why they want to make sure it's going to address the needs that they say it's going to address. But how can you control that? I don't know how you can control what anyone does with except for zoning, and zoning doesn't say, okay, you can only do this. Um, that's a good question. I don't have all the details, but I read about it where in Chelsea, there's this building, because I drive by it all the time because I go downtown, eat there, that a private developer was looking at and working on a plan to create. I'm going to walk across the street here. Apartments, because believe me, the city of Chelsea needs apartments. And so after that was done, he figured it out and he withdrew his offer because it was just way too much money to build. He figured that the rents wouldn't support the cost of the building, which is you do your due diligence. So it makes me question, you know, you can build all this, multi-units, but at what cost? Because right now the cost to build is really high. And anyone who's done any type of renovation work in their house or whatever, it ain't cheap. And also, in this market currently, the builders aren't building. Why? Because right now they need to get their money back on the properties they built, and they're not going to pre-build houses unless they know they've got someone to buy them. So, kind of interesting. A lot of things to consider. As I like to say, a lot of moving parts. So right now, the statuses are going to draft another plan later this summer, then have another meeting. And I just want to tell you that my goal today is not to tell you how to feel, how to make your opinion, but that this is going on right now. And your voice can be a part of this planning. And for those of, and even if you're outside Ann Arbor and you don't live right in the city, there are so many communities that are close by. I mean, you've got Dexter, you've got Saline, you've got Ypsilanti, you've got a lot of different places. And all of us know that things spread, that towns grow, they spread out, and they evolve. So it can also spread into your area. But I think this is a really, you need to think about this. And for those of you who want to explore how this might affect you, your neighborhood, and, is this where you want to be? I mean, are you fine with having a 3-story building, multi-unit, across the street or various? It's going to be a different look because right now, from what I read, only 14% of the residential land is zoned for multi-use. I mean, is this the direction you want to see? And I think everyone's voice needs to be heard. You can, go online and find the group, the Ann Arbor Neighborhood Network. I showed you that sign, and reach out to them and see what they have. They've got a website up. I know I went there and I visited there. I will look for that, and if I have it, I'll put the link down below. How about that? Would that work for you? So I'll keep an eye on this and let you know, what I'm hearing. And I will see you on the next video, okay? Thanks a lot. And let me know if you like me walking through these neighborhoods and you can see everything. It's a gorgeous day out today. It's not sweaty and hot. So subscribe, stay in touch. Talk to you later.